All right. First, I just would like to take a minute to offer our condolences to Betsy St. Cyr for her husband passing away on December 22nd, and also for Rodney Shane, who's ill in the Portland hospital, and Judy, wish them well. And Mr. Robert Powell is also on board again, filling in.
Filling in.
And let's see, what else do I have? Let's see, any adjustments to the agenda?
Nothing.
Okay, discussion with the Selectmen Warrant and Finance Committee to review budget projections and expectations. It looks like we have a schedule here. Budget development timeline. Anyone have any?
I just comment that Colleen and I put this suggested timeline together. Have talked to Betsy about it, and it seemed logical to her, but she hasn't seen it in its final form as we have it here. And I guess I perceive this agenda item as kind of a getting started agenda where we can hopefully develop some gross expenditure targets that will help us focus the development of the budget. And in the timeline, you'll notice that there are some work sessions which will be pretty nitty-gritty in nature, and that's when your real decisions will be made. In the meantime, Colleen and I have put together, for our purposes, a workbook where we've already got 2 different colors in there with stuff that we've kept plugging in. And we'll get packets for you after tonight, when we decide if this timeline is agreeable to you. So my suggestion would be to look at the timeline and see if that seems logical, and then spend a few minutes giving everybody involved input as to what you think a final expenditure budget ought to look like. We won't have the state information for who knows when. It'll be later this winter, but you folks don't get much from the state anyhow, so it's pretty much what you put in for your expenditures that's really important.
Any other comment? Did the Selectmen, or did you want to?
Yeah, we're hoping to keep it flat this year. We've had 2 years in a row where we haven't had to raise the tax rate, so we're hoping, you can keep it as close to flat as possible. I understand that you're already probably looking at another kindergarten teacher, so that's understandable. But with us working together last year, and you guys kicking in that money to do the repairs here, that we didn't have to tax the people for that money, so that helped a lot. And then we were able to put $125,000 in from us having a discretionary freeze on the town. So that's why we were able to keep the tax rate at the same rate for the second year, and we'd like to do it again for the third year. So any help you guys can do with your budget to do that would be great.
Just looking at it from the outside, it appears to me that you're going to have some built-in increases when you look at your personnel needs. In some cases, they're funded under grants or whatever, and you may have to pick those up. If you don't, then you're going to have a loss of some personnel in that regard. And I think everybody knows that the school system encounters the same kinds of increases that regular citizens do when they go to buy anything at the local stores. It costs more this time than it did the last time you bought it. But I think the staff will be very cognizant of the wishes of the community and will do everything that it can to keep it as level as it can.
I think that this time we really have to make an effort to be able to put away some money for some big expenditures that may occur, like heating systems, roofs, plumbing,
Well,
furnaces, things like that. We haven't done much capital improvement in a long, long time.
Right.
Setting money aside.
we'd like to see us do it the same way we did it last year, where we go with a separate item. It's not part of your budget.
Yeah.
And then it's under our budget, it's under our meeting instead of yours. You just go for your school budget, and we'll go for the capital improvements under the town budget. And then, that way they get to vote nay or yay but then you don't have to take
Right.
money out of your operating budget in order to make those repairs.
Yeah.
It worked very well for all of us last year.
Right, oh, yeah. Yep. That seems to be the way to go.
Yeah, we've asked the fire department to start doing that this year too, and we're gonna have to do it too, to do some work on the town buildings, so, it seems the best way to go, then the people they have the option of deciding, yes, we wanna raise that extra money and do those repairs, or no, we don't. But, you know, all of our buildings, the fire department's, 20 years old, and you guys are 20 years old, I mean, our building's a lot older and it needs a lot of work, so we
Yeah.
have, if we ask for it separately out of the, keep it separate from the budget, I think it's a lot better way to go.
Oh, yeah, we all agreed on that last year, to do it that way, yeah, yep.
Now, what are you doing, Ted, as far as the town and the fire, town building and the fire department?
Well-
Are you setting up a separate account
Yes.
and just, more or less putting so much per year aside in that?
Yeah, we're gonna have, the fire department doesn't have any major repairs right now, but they're looking at possibly, you know, in the future, they're gonna have to start doing repairs. So they're gonna start asking for some separate money each year to start making a fund. We just looked at repainting the town hall, and it's gonna be $30,000 to repaint it, and they said it'll only last 2 years. So now we're looking at siding, and that's $77,000 for vinyl or $120,000 for cedar. So we're just gonna start saving money, because, you know, to go out and ask for $120,000 this year to redo the town hall, it's not the right time to do it, so.
I think that's kind of what Jeanette was getting at, is that, you know, it may be a good plan for the school to do, to start, because I know being on the long-term planning committee, we've pushed off some major projects in the school for the past 5 years, and essentially haven't done anything until it has to be done. And you know as well as I do, at that point, it seems to be more expensive because it's a bigger project at the time. So I think we may look at doing the same thing, you know, put so much per year.
But then it comes out of your budget and it builds into your budget. If we do it for you, then it's not part of the school budget, because, you know,
Yeah,
the
that's
town
what-
agreed
that-
last year that the school building is owned by the town, so.
No, that's what I meant. We do
Yeah.
it on the town floor.
Right.
And it'd be set up, it'd be held by the town, but in the account designated for the school building, because it is town property.
Yeah, however it's voted, that's how we have to save that money. So if they vote to put 5,000 or 10,000 or 50,000 away for the school, we have to keep it just like we have to keep the 50,000 for the fire department for the truck. We have to keep that separate, so it'll be the same thing.
Yeah, I think in the long run, it would be a lot less of a hit, you know, if we do have a major breakdown, you know, a new furnace system, you know, 30, 40,000. I wouldn't even guess to what it would cost, you know, instead of coming up with it all at once, like when the well went basically over a week and having to spend $25,000 a 3 years ago. You know, that's hard to come up with basically overnight, but you do what you have to do.
And that's one of the things the auditors have told us for the last 2 years, is we're not doing that enough. We don't
Yeah.
have enough reserves for when things like that happen. So we need to start saving that way.
Yeah.
No? Nothing? Okay. So we have this, must have a copy of the schedule, right? It's okay if
And I'll
it
pass it
comes
on
up
to
with
the other
changes? Okay, yep.
Does that look logical to folks? And I think it needs to be stated, stressed that, you know, it's a guideline. It isn't etched in stone if you get snow days or who knows, whatever. But these will be targets from the school standpoint. We'll try to keep to it as much as we can. So this seems okay then?
Yeah.
And that'll get to the Warren and Finance people.
Also,
Okay, and we have approval of the minutes of the school committee meetings or other meetings, December 13th. Any errors, omissions, acceptance?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second.
All those in favor of the approval of the minutes of the meeting, December 13th? You weren't
You
there?
weren't here.
I'll abstain. That wasn't good.
Okay. Let's see, any comments from the visitors?
Okay, so that was carried
3 to
3-0 with one
Yep.
abstention.
Communications and correspondence. Do you have any?
I don't have any.
Okay. Okay, so then we have a report of the superintendent, including staff reports. Superintendent, Mr. Powers.
Okay, I did send an advance report with the agenda. I can tell you that Betsy was discharged from the rehab center, I believe, today,
Oh,
and is going to be staying with her daughter for about a week, I guess, while she transitions back home. So that certainly does sound encouraging. As Jeanette said, this is my third little stint helping you out while you've been either between superintendents or while superintendents have been out ill. I can't say that I'm real happy to be here, but I am pleased to do whatever I can to help. I just want to stress that I don't view my role here as that of a change agent. I kind of view it as helping you get stuff done. I've been in contact already with Betsy, and will continue to be in contact with her so that we won't be doing anything that will come as a shock to her when she gets back. I would like to introduce Joe Kiley kind of informally now and then a little more formally later. She is what I call now the Special Ed Director Designee, if you will. And then later in the agenda, we can formally introduce her, and I'll ask her to give us a little bit of a resume at that time. So that concludes my report, unless you have questions or if you'd like to have some guidance or guidelines for me while I'm trying to fill in. When Judy called me initially, I told her that I was going to be away the 14th to the 21st, and since I've already paid for all of that, I still plan to do that. When I come back, I hope I have a nice tan for you.
you really plan to go? You're gonna go?
I'm going, definitely going.
Okay.
Good to have options.
Okay, I guess that's that for the moment. How about principal's report? Tricia Halliday.
Don't let the packet scare you.
Wow. Lots of words here. Lots of words.
I want to first also welcome Joy. We were very fortunate to hire Joy just before Christmas break. And I can say without a doubt that she's jumped in with both feet. Came in over vacation to get acclimated quickly and doing some transition conversations with Sandy Warden, who hopefully is doing well in her new position. And immediately Joy has made herself part of our staff. I think she and I will enjoy working together. We have a lot of the same values, but she's also bringing with her some areas of expertise and experience that are not mine. So it's a wonderful balance. Additionally, in my report, can let you know that we've added 5 new students to our school this week. The kindergarten projected numbers for next year are at 26, possibly 28 at this point. So right now we're at 223 students, and possibly more coming in the next couple weeks. So we're growing again. An update on STAR, just to highlight one of the programs that are going on with STAR. Gymnastics is being offered as an extension activity for students who are eligible, and it happens to be a handful of girls who are learning, a different style of physical education. And the phys ed teacher has arranged with a facility in Biddeford for them to actually go and see a full-fledged gymnasium and learn some of the specific, I don't call them athletic events, if you will, that are associated with gymnastics. It is not a typical portion of the phys ed program here. The reason your packet for the principal's report is so heavy is because it has attached the next topic, the 504 compliance. Bess Kernan, our guidance counselor, attended a 504 conference. As you know, in the world of education, nothing stays the same for long when it comes to rules and regulations. Attached are sample expectations from Drummond and Woodsum that all schools must have in compliance with the latest federal regulations of the 504 law. And especially important is the child find page and parental rights. We have to have these posted on our webpage. We have to have certain programs in place for identifying and seeking out children who may qualify for 504. So I have those in your packet for you to peruse. I will be needing to speak with the policy committee specifically about what is and is not currently in place and what must be. So that'll be one of those as soon as possible topics. You know, very important for students. Just before Christmas break, administration had a teacher workshop day. A variety of topics were covered. The next topic I have for you is a doozy, something to be deeply considered over time. I write that I'm interested in pursuing a collective effort to get the community back in our building and to build our connection between community and school. The first one, which has already been ongoing, is trying to get more parents and more seniors, more non-parents in the building and assisting with students. The pre-K mailing list has started. Linda has been compiling a list of those, not just next year's kindergarten class, but any students who in the next 5 years could be coming here, who don't already have siblings in our school. So that any kind of school newsletter that we're sending out, the Pressing Pause, or any special events that we're doing, they would get notified of what's going on in the school and encourage that early connection. I'd like to discuss things like book buddies being brought back, preschool programs, things that will allow us to make a stronger connection with families sooner. And again, it has to be a long-range planning. Which brings me to the next topic. As a school department, I think it's really important that we talk, school board, superintendent's office, my level as well as the teachers and the community beyond, about a step-by-step plan for a vision and staff development and a cohesive plan of how we're going to move forward for the school for the next 5 years or so at a time. It's really important to be proactive in where we want to see our kids be, and I don't think we can be doing that much longer without a good 5-year plan. If we're looking at students leaving here in 8th grade, we have to know what the target is for what we consider to be a successful 8th grade student. As we're sending them off to high school, what are our targets for them? What do we expect them to be able to do? And then we can make better budget and staff development decisions based on that vision. So I would like school board, and I had spoke to Betsy with this in the fall, I would like school board to look at, especially after you get done with the heavy workshop time for budget, that we need to have real time doing this. This is really important stuff, and it has to be done in an inclusive way with all parties that are invested in the school's success. So I look forward to hearing back from you as to when you see that can happen and how soon. And maybe it could be on next month's agenda as well as a conversation as to what can be done. NWEA testing, this is a trial run. Mike and I have discussed that a part of the package with the NWEA testing is this mini test. So it's not a cost, it's already part of the program. They're much smaller and shorter in time, still have the same reading, language arts, and math components. But we're trying to use it to get what I would call live time information, that feedback right away on students, so that teachers can adjust their teaching. We can adjust where the students go for their star block. So we're giving this a trial run. We will then have multiple scores to look at. We can decide whether or not this information provides us with what we need. So this starting next week, Mike, right?
No.
This week, okay. So for 3
Already
weeks,
been happening.
classes will be rotating in their regular computer lab time, doing these shortened versions of the NWEA testing. And then when we have last year's spring scores as well as this coming spring scores, we'll know whether or not these mid-year assessments are valid and valuable to us. So that's happening. And then I've included upcoming events, junior high basketball games. I also want to point out, today is the 80th day of school. Should time go accordingly, the 100th day of school will land on February 8th. And I do believe Student Council plans on doing the annual food drive for the 100th day celebration. So look forward to hearing more for that. Do you have any questions?
A mid-year assessment has not been done before with the NWEAs. This is the first year. Usually do just the spring and the fall.
No. We originally we did one at the beginning of the year, one at mid-year. These are full-blown tests, full 40, 50 questions, and then one at the end of the year. But with the kneecaps and doing that, kids never get a chance to be in the classroom. So we decided to just test at the end of the year, last year, and maybe the year before too.
Right.
Just test at the end of the year once to get, a standard, level and find out where the students are at. But we also realized we don't have a good form of measurement from seeing the students' progression per year. So this year we've started at the middle of the year. We did kneecaps at the beginning of the year. We're doing NWAs in the middle of the year, just a short test to get a benchmark where they're at, and then at the end of the year we'll test them again to see if the growth. Next year we might do it at the beginning of the year, so we'll have a benchmark at the beginning, and then one at the end. We could even do one in the beginning, middle, and end like we used to, and just do the short tests.
The real test here is whether the short tests give us as much valid information as the long test. And that's what we'd like to know. If they do, that means good assessment information, less time away from the classroom. So it's a trial run. We have to wait and see how it works. But generally, with the kneecaps being forced to be in October, the first 3 weeks, whereas the MEAs used to be in the spring, doing the NWA testing and the kneecap testing at the beginning of the school year was just abysmal. So we try to figure out, okay, how do we get most efficient information with the least disruptive time? So this is a test of the short form to see whether it is as efficient as the long form. It may actually end up being more efficient. If kids don't have to be at the test-taking point for as long, they may actually put forth better effort. So we may actually, and again, you always have to compare it with the classroom performance. The teacher looks at the score that the child got at the NWAs, which is a computerized, responsive test, and they look at their classroom performance, and then you look at the kneecaps. You've got that triangulation of saying, this is a consistent view of how the child is performing. It also can point out that depending on how you're getting the assessment information, the child's performance may drastically change. And that's important information itself. Some kids test better on the computer because they enjoy doing it. Others actually test worse because they just multiple choice and they don't invest in reading of the passages, etc. So it's a wait and see.
But I think you do have to do it midway because of what we now have is that STAR program. So now you can place kids into a group that'll help
Right,
them.
that's another reason why I think we.
If the standardized information gives us what we want, it'll be very powerful in
Yeah.
placing correctly, in assessing growth from even the beginning of the school year to where the children are halfway. And then again, the point of an assessment should inform instruction and tell us where we need to go
Right.
for the children. We just don't know if this is going to be the best way of doing it. We have to try.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Good? I'm good.
Okay. How about, we have a special education director's report at all?
I didn't
Have
ask
something
her to
say?
do one
No,
since she's
I know.
only been here a
Yep, that's
week.
right, that's okay.
Not that we haven't put her to work right away. Say things are going
And she hasn't even been formally elected yet.
Yeah.
I don't wanna scare her off too
I
much,
know.
but I can
Well-
assure you that she's made a nice first impression and that she's rolled up her sleeves and really wading into things.
Well, I had to
Well,
read that.
now she
'cause
can
that's on my
see that
paper.
this is what we expect.
Just
Next
based on the
meeting,
one I
you're
saw.
on the agenda.
Well, it was written here, so I had to say
I
it.
gotta say it.
And I put it on there because this is the standard
That's
form.
the-
Right.
right, that's right. So how about next in line, facilities? Andy
Mine-
Brazier,
Mine will be fairly brief this evening.
okay?
I've listed for you the things that we were able to do over the Christmas break. I was very pleased with the amount of work that we got done in a 4-day period. The lighting project, I really don't have any significant update on the project other than I can tell you that it's in the works. We did get our pre-approval through Efficiency Maine.
Oh, good.
And hoping to see some progress by the end of the month.
Now, are you gonna be down a person, or what's going on with personnel? Again?
To be announced, I guess. We're operating with a full staff right now,
Okay, good.
so. But other than that, it's been pretty quiet. Mother Nature has treated us rather nicely. Heating system is run well this month.
And the water's okay.
Everything is going rather smoothly.
Are we on quarterly with that, or how does that go with the water
We are
testing?
still on quarterly testing, yes.
And then eventually goes to a year, or annual, or,
I think we're on quarterly
Just
indefinitely,
because we're a public facility or something?
yes.
Okay. And let's see, we have a report here from the IT manager, Mr. Corey, who is a new father.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love her name. That is so cool.
Yeah, we called her Poppy Seed because we didn't find out the sex and so we decided to put Poppy in there somewhere.
I'll bet it sticks.
Yeah.
I bet it does.
I'm still calling her Poppy Seed.
Yeah.
My report's pretty brief as well because I've been dealing with the baby. I'm also trying to buy a house, so
Getting plenty of sleep, I guess.
yeah, we got her on a system. She's doing good.
For that.
Believe me, she'll have you trained sooner or later.
She tries to test us, but we still get her. I've been finalizing the budget request data that was submitted by staff. There's about 200 lines of Excel with the and I broke it down by department and line number. So you'll see a department and then you'll see the line numbers. I don't have the data attached. It's just too much to print. But I've been breaking that down for Carlene and Trish and Joy. And taking care of that. We received an estimate finally for a surveillance system. And from other vendors that never actually got me an estimate or a quote, they shot in around 10 grand. Southern Maine Cabling came in around $8,000, $8,728, which includes a 16-channel DVR with 2 terabytes of storage, and it'll plug into the network, which basically means the cameras will the videotape of the cameras will be stored on this device, and then we can access it via our laptops from home even, and review, video footage, and we can set it up depending on, when it rotates and cycles through the video. This quote will also include 10 cameras throughout the building and outside. And this stuff is, or will be adjusted depending. We might not need 10 cameras with the size of the building and the location of the cameras. And of course the cabling and labor was included. So I don't know how this is going to be funded, if that's go out to bid, but it's there for you to review.
You said that was one company
Yeah, they gave us a quote. Yeah.
that gave you the quote.
Right, for $8,728. I tried connecting with 3 other companies, but they never came back with a quote. They lost me or something, and I lost communication with them. So I finally got somebody to respond.
Were those companies local companies?
Yeah, they were local, and some weren't local. They were New Hampshire based, and a couple, I think 2 were in Maine, but northern Maine. But they never responded. I don't even remember.
There's one in Lyman that does a lot of work, I know.
Yeah. Well, seeing I don't know how this, like I said, I don't know how this is going to be funded. It might have to go out to bid anyway.
And
So
then we could always contact those people.
yeah, and those
that
people
Bob
can
may know.
yeah. So
Southern Maine Cabling is the company that installed the security system in the garage for us this fall.
yeah, we already have a relationship with them.
And he also said that he has installed systems in a couple of the Sanford schools, and that we could view their systems if we wanted to see if that's what we, definitely wanted. We could look at the systems and look at the features that the systems have. So,
So at least we have some news on that.
Finally.
Would the assessment they put together here, would that be adequate for what we need? I mean,
The cameras only shoot up to, I think, 50 feet. So depending on where we want the cameras to be, I don't know if we want them throughout the entire school or just entrances, will depend on how many cameras we need. And the device that the cameras hook up to allow for 16 cameras. And if we need more, we can add a device to it so we can have 32, cameras. So it's expandable if we need to go further in the future. This is just an estimate. He didn't even do a walkthrough. He gave me some measurements, I gave him some measurements, and this is what we came up with as a rough estimate.
Now, how would cameras like this operate on the exterior of the building after dark?
They have an infrared. They even, when they're in the building, when the lights are out, there's an infrared night vision built into the camera. And we can also zoom the cameras in and out to adjust them accordingly, depending on the location. So these cameras will pick up night vision. It's not going to be high quality, but it's going to be you'll be able to make out forms and a face if they're close enough to the camera.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Any other questions on this? I got more stuff to talk about. As said, the NWAs are going on right now. Gail's doing a great job administering them during the day. And hopefully we'll see that doing this shorter test will help analyze student data better. I also spoke with, we currently have a contract with a budget document. But yeah, it's a budget document. The name of the company. They support and service our printers. When our printers run out of ink, they just ship us a printer. I don't have to notify them or anything. There's a computer monitoring all printers in the network, and when they run low, we'll receive a print cartridge, and we'll put it in. It's a yearly fee. They charge us per copy like they do, or per page like the copier contract does. And they ran some numbers and they gave us a quote on a new copier contract if we wanted to sign into it. I don't have any numbers yet, but I have the email. I think I've included it in your little packet I gave you. And they stated that their cost per copy is going to be less, but the lease on the copier, they're going to replace the copiers with new ones, and the lease on those copiers will be about the same. So all in all, we'll be paying less, annually per copy if we went with this copy contract. I asked them for actual numbers. Maybe they'll submit them soon. So this is just something to think about and mull over and think to consider.
And you'll bring up in the budget process, yeah?
I've already put in the budget our current print contract because we signed a 3-year contract with that. But if we want to move forward with this, because we've already budgeted for the copier too, so
Right.
it's in the budget, and we can. And if this is going to be less, then we can definitely cover this contract if we
Right.
roll with it. They'll also buy out. I forgot to mention they'll buy out our current contract, so we don't have to worry about that bill for terminating early. So they'll buy out our current contract and charge us less per copy. We'll probably have to sign a 3 or 5 year contract with them, but it'll be less money.
Where are they
overall.
from?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
They weren't from Maine, I don't
They are
believe.
from Maine. They're
They
from
are?
northern Maine, yeah.
Oh,
I just can't remember,
that's all
what
right,
town
I
it's from.
don't remember, okay, well,
but they've managed school districts all over the place
Yeah.
in Maine.
Once they got you.
And this is our first year, I think, under contract with them for printing, and it's great. I don't have to worry about ordering any supplies. They just show up, in the office, and then I just plop them into the printer.
Okay.
So, they seem pretty good. That's all I got.
Kinda, sorta?
That's it.
Okay, all right, thank you. And the finance directors,
All right.
Colleen?
Well, you all have in front of you a copy of the finance report. Looks like we're in really good shape. We're still at 62%. However, we have the second quarter of our tuition bills going to be paid this week at $300,000, so that's gonna make a big dent. But we're still doing very well that way. Mike and I have been working on the budget as well as on the lease, talking about the lease with Mark for the copiers, and we haven't had a lot of problems with our new with the copiers we have right now with Icon. They're overused, they're abused, they say we're using cheap paper, so they now want us to buy paper from them, which they actually donated a free case to see if it worked, and it really did, but, so, you know, we have some pros and cons. We'd have to look at the machines and see what they're capable of and whatever. As long as we can keep it in the budget as it is, it would be fine. Mike and I have been looking through the different parts of the budget, and when the staff puts in their budget, they don't always hit the right line. So that's what we're trying to figure out right now, in cleaning up a lot of those little odds and ends. Because Mike put everything in his budget, all of our new technology, and some of it actually has to go. We're gonna disperse it throughout the.
Well, I wouldn't mind getting it emailed instead of you guys wasting paper and using your copiers. So I would like an email copy of the budget, because you said there's gonna be a lot of pages.
Well, my sheet really
Once
doesn't
you
even
clean that up,
work on the print.
and you have everyone, I want to just look at it on the computer, because then I will bring my computer here, my iPad.
It's in an Excel version, and the only thing is it's about 30 columns long. So if you don't mind dragging
Yeah,
it,
you
Mike's,
gotta
we've
look
got.
it over anyway.
Yeah, it's set up so that the names automatically move, you
Right,
know, from
right,
side to
right.
side. So it's, once you get used to looking at it, it's not too bad. But I can also email the summary sheets that Bob and I have in our
Yeah.
books.
Right.
We can send them by email as well. And as we make changes, that would even, if you had a laptop or something you could bring in, it would be good, because all the formulas are in there. So if we make a decision to change something during one of the meetings, you plug in the number,
Right.
and then that automatically changes. I've got it so that it's down in the summary.
Right.
It'll change all that. So everything will be changed, percentages, differences, whatever. So it would work really well that way. So would anybody else like their budget emailed?
What?
Would anybody else like?
She
it?
wants iPads for all school community.
No, I don't. I said, well, we're gonna put that in the budget too? I don't, trust me.
Well, I don't care, I mean, whatever you wanna send, I can, you know, look at it.
We'll make sure you get a paper copy, Jim.
Well, I
Get it on
can
scrap paper.
read. As long as I hit the right buttons, I'm all set.
Bob wants a paper copy, so we'll give it for
Okay,
Jeanette.
no, I can,
Make mine a paper
I like
copy.
paper
Okay,
copy
You can put it
too.
on any color paper you want, I don't care.
I mean, I can,
Mary's the only one that's going to get it.
Okay.
What, you're
email
gonna-
me.
Judy would probably run it
Well, I
on
know,
her
but-
phone. I know her.
well, I mean, you can email what you're doing, and then
Right.
you're gonna have copies anyway, right? So we
Right.
can look at it. Yeah,
Except for
sure.
Mary.
It just
Yeah.
gets to be too much paper,
Mhm.
really. And then I have so many versions, and as long as you keep track of, and you put somewhere on the bottom how you had, you know, this is, just put the
Revised.
date, you know,
Right.
you
The
gotta.
date automatically comes up on the
Oh, good.
bottom, so every time it
Anyway.
gets revised, that page
Perfect.
will change the time.
That's good.
Okay.
That was the hardest thing, trying to keep up with what version,
Yeah.
even at the Warren and Finance level,
Mm-hmm.
it was tough.
Well, okay, it looks like you have a lot of things to do.
You're gonna be busy.
Okay, how about long-term planning committee?
Long-term
Yeah.
planning committee didn't meet this month.
And the policy committee meeting?
We did not meet, because we're trying to discuss something with Betsy, but we have to meet, maybe Bob can meet with us before he goes away or something, I don't know. When are you going away?
I'm leaving Saturday morning at 4 o'clock,
But you're coming back the 20th, you said?
21st.
21st, all right, so after the 21st, we will book something and make
Sure.
sure we look at the 504 that we were handed tonight, and go back and look at, you were, in your report, let me just go back to whatever you said. somewhere. Here.
I hope that was
Well,
accurate.
21st is a Saturday. Of
Hey, you did it.
January? No. Oh, January, oh, okay, yeah.
He's gonna be right. You had a question about the policy JIC, and you
Yes.
said, this item is listed as a second reading, but anyway, we tabled it
Right.
to actually do tonight, but we can't do it tonight because we never did meet because of everything that
So it
happened.
technically then hasn't had a first reading?
No.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
And then Betsy was gonna add a couple of things to that.
Right, she was gonna
Oh,
add
the brochure
something, the
that came,
brochure.
I did
that
find a
came.
folder,
But we
I
never
didn't
saw
see
the
anything.
brochure.
Oh, the brochure that she
But
had,
anyway, we were gonna meet
kinda-
as policy subcommittee, so now we're gonna have to meet and look over, now
Okay.
we can look it over with
So
you.
that'll be,
So that's why, when you had the question there, I just wanted to clarify that.
well,
So
the reason
won't-
I did that, because I couldn't see from the minutes that you had
Right.
accepted the first reading.
So 7.1, we don't have to do tonight.
Good.
Any new business? New business. Election of the special education director.
Yes, this is, I've been waiting for you. You met Joy just a few minutes ago, and she did start a week ago today. And Betsy did ask me if I would nominate her for your election today, and I did include a little blurb about the salary, and it's the same essentially provisions that you had with Mrs. Warden. I think that you really lucked out, from what I can tell. With just my first few meetings, she and I have had a couple of issues that we've dealt with, and I've really been impressed. So I personally welcome her very much, and thought that maybe instead of me giving her a big rundown about her background, give her an opportunity to give you her, I won't call it her obituary, but maybe her resume about what she's done and so forth. And then at the conclusion of that, we need to elect her, and I do have a draft of an agreement, which is essentially the same as you had with Mrs. Warden, only it provides for 60 days over the remainder of the year with the same benefits and so forth. And she and I will execute that tonight if you elect her. So Joy, would you please give us a little rundown of yourself, please?
Well, first I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity to be here and share some of my background. I'm absolutely loving Acton Elementary School. You support, it's obvious that it's been well supported by the community. So, having said that, I really started my career as an ed tech, which I was really called a paraprofessional in New Hampshire. So I have done almost every job in special education. I was then a special ed teacher. But primarily my focus has been special ed administration, where I have specific strengths in strategic planning, budget development, management, and if I might say, in every district I worked in, I saved quite a bit of money for the school district and the taxpayers in the programs that I put in place, which is another strength of mine, program planning for individual students as well as for groups of students with special ed disabilities, special education disabilities. So I have, as I said, program planning, strategic planning, budget management, and I have 20 years experience in special ed, working in New Hampshire school districts. My most recent job was at Measured Progress, and that, if you're not aware, is where the kneecaps and it's the MCAS? No, what do you call it? The
NWAs and the PAPEs.
The PAPE, but I was thinking there's also another main.
It was the MEA.
MEA, thank you.
MEAs, yes.
Yeah, thanks. But I was the Assistant Director of Special Education at Measured Progress, primarily in charge of the alternate assessment, the PAPE. And so I have a lot of experience doing that, scoring, and helping teachers prepare for it. And I'm glad to, if you need any more information, I'm glad to answer questions.
Well, are you going from a full-time to a part-time job?
I worked part-time for Granite State College. I left that
Okay.
out, I'm sorry. I've been working for Granite State College for about 6 years, and that's part-time. And I'm specifically seeking part-time
Okay.
employment. I plan on being here for a very long time. I'd like to say that the staff has been very welcoming and wonderful, and I know that Trish and I are going to get along very well, and Carleen and the rest of the staff, and Bob for the time he's here. Is there anything else that you'd like?
I just wanted you to know that we were hoping to keep it part-time. That's,
Oh, yes, I understood that, and I was specifically looking for part-time work because of my commitment to Granite State College as well.
Which really means that they pay part-time, but it's a full-time job.
Yeah. No, and I understand. Can I just add that having been a special director for large and small school districts in New Hampshire, I understand that full-time is really 85, 90 hours a week, and that part-time is probably full-time. So I'm willing to be here however long it takes to do the job.
Have you come to some conclusion about days that you are going to work, or doesn't it matter, or, I mean,
We
what?
have worked that out.
You worked that out,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah,
She has a schedule
yeah, okay.
and a willingness to be flexible when necessary.
Yeah, okay.
And one of the things the school was looking at was if for some reason Trish knew she was gonna be out,
yes,
we'd definitely like to have
an administrator.
Joy here so that
Mhm.
there's someone on board all the time.
Oh, okay, yep,
My sense is that they're gonna work real well together.
okay. Well,
So, I would like to nominate then on behalf of Betsy, Joy, Kylie for the special ed directorship position for 60 days for the period July 3rd through June 30.
January 3rd.
January, what did I say, June?
Yeah.
keep saying
Yeah,
June.
yeah,
July.
January 3rd through
Today's the
July
30th.
30th.
Or June 30th.
Right, yeah.
All right,
I wrote it down here, and that's what I
You're thinking
meant.
about the 24th.
I'll make a
aren't you,
motion.
Mary?
I'll make a motion to hire Joy Kiley, is it said Kylie?
Kylie,
Kylie, as the special ed director here at Acton for 60 days, January 3rd through June 30th of this year, with the semi-annual rate of $19,860, with the benefits stated in the contract for Sandy Warden.
And I do have an agreement that we have run by Betsy and run by Joy, and we're ready to execute it tonight.
I'll second it.
all those in favor?
Welcome aboard.
thank you. Very happy to be here.
I think you gotta keep up.
Well, I think that looks, the next word I see here
I'll make a
is,
motion to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?